Download the free Gun Dealio app to your smartphone. Find out about the latest deals and news on guns and gear. Includes the latest Gun Talk podcast and Gun Talk videos. That's Gun Dealio on the App Store and Google Play.
#1 national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
All right, we'll get to your calls in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to get to you, okay? But first, you know how much I love a good novel, a good thriller novel. I just read a couple of them that I really enjoyed when I was on my way to and back from Germany. And there's a new one out that I think you would enjoy. And you know what really ruins it for me? I mean, come on. You know what it is, right? When they get the guns wrong. When they shoot a subsonic round and hit somebody at like 700 yards and it knocks them out of the vehicle and you're going, really? No, it had to start off slowly, so here we go. When they get guns wrong, it really bothers me. And it's really nice when you get a truly good novel written by somebody who actually knows his technical stuff. And that's what we have right here. It's a real thrill to welcome to the show Jack Carr. He is the author of the novel, The Terminal List. Hey, Jack, welcome to Gun Talk.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give the real quick version of your background. You fill it in for me. Navy SEAL, Special Warfare, Intelligence Officer, Special Operations Task Unit, like decades in the Navy. And I take it what you do is you have all that experience. It's like the real deal. So you've been a sniper. So when you write about a sniper rifle, you don't say stupid stuff about it, man.
Well, thanks. That was, part of the, something that I wanted to take great pains with was to make sure I got it right. Because as you said in the opening there's nothing worse than somebody in a great novel, switching, off the safety on their Glock or something like that.
Yes.
So, yes. Got the gun stuff, hopefully got it all right in there, but, it's 100% fiction. So it's a political military thriller, but really with the hero of the story, James Reese, he's a SEAL and he has a career that loosely mirrors mine, but the emotions that he feels going through this journey are things that I felt at some point over my 20 years in the military. And I just took those emotions and applied them to this fictional narrative.
Well, they always say, write what you know. And in this case, you do that. You borrow from what you have lived and what you know and the people you've met, even though, your characters may not exactly be copied from them. That can be an amalgam of them. But it is kind of that feel you get of having been there and what happens. How do you go from being a SEAL to an author?
Yes, I wanted to do both those things since I was a little kid. I found out what SEALs were very early on in life. I think I was 7 years old at the time, and I always knew I wanted to serve my country in uniform and just kept my eye on that goal through junior high, high school, college, and then I enlisted after college because I wanted to essentially start in the mailroom and work my way up, and I wanted to be a sniper, and typically officers aren't snipers, so went that route and eventually became an officer along the path. But from an early age as well, I wanted to write. My mom was a librarian, so we were surrounded by books as kids, and she instilled a love of reading in us at a very early age. So, and then I naturally gravitated towards political military thrillers growing up, Tom Clancy and Nelson DeMille and Stephen Hunter, and eventually Brad Thor and Daniel Silva and Vince Flynn. So I just naturally gravitated towards those books and knew that eventually I would do that. So as I was getting out of the military, I thought, okay, this is the time to give that next passion a try.
All right, a silly question for you, but I got to ask, when you were a kid, particularly a young kid, were you one of these like really active, physical, do everything kind of guys?
I was fairly active. Yes, fairly active. I was very fortunate that I grew up in a place where I could do that sort of thing.
The reason I ask is that we had a neighbor kid who grew up with our kids, and he was that super active guy and always getting into things and breaking arms and doing stuff. And then you turn around and go, he's a SEAL now. Yeah, well, that makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I'm fairly active, and just always wanted to test myself and see if I could make it through that training program, and then wanted to lead men in combat. So I was very fortunate and honored to do that for as long as I did.
All right, let me ask you a question then. Okay, so when people grab a copy of the terminal list and they're reading it, are there things in there that they can, obviously it's fiction, but are there things in there that they can learn and go, wow, I didn't realize that about special operations, that kind of a thing?
Yeah, I think so. So I wanted to make sure that the main character wasn't this superhuman caricature of a Navy SEAL that sometimes the media can portray us as. So I wanted him to have faults and be good at some things and not as good at others. I borrowed on my experience there. So he has to learn a little bit about how to communicate in a way that can't be intercepted by the government. So he kind of has an idea how to do that. He has to exploit somebody else's computer and figure that stuff out. So there's some things, do surveillance, kind of like a police officer would do. And typically, we do that a lot more now in the SEAL teams, but some of us don't do it at all. And we're focused solely on the direct action type thing. And so I didn't do too much of that in my career. So the protagonist of this story kind of has to figure that out. And he's not as good at it as he is in kicking indoors and doing the sniper stuff. So I wanted to make him human, and wanted him to have faults, and wanted him to be a guy that you want to have a beer with and you like, but that can also flip a switch and start getting the job done when that time comes.
Right. How long did it take you to write it?
So about a year and a half till I told my wife it was done, and then I continued to work on it, and she said, "Why are you still staying up so late working on this thing? I thought you told me it was done." And I said, "No, it was done. It just wasn't done, because that was another 4 or 5 months of just reading it and trying to look at it through the eye of someone who hasn't been intimately involved with its creation. So editing and reading it again and editing until it was at a place where I thought I had it as good as I could possibly ever get it, and then I sent it off to Simon & Schuster, and luckily they liked it.
So how's it doing?
Oh, it's doing great. It's exceeding projections and expectations. So really, it's my first foray down this path. So I don't know exactly what that means, but I know that the publisher is very happy, and the response has been incredible. The reviews have been great, and I really think it's resonating with people because it feels authentic, because those emotions are actually real emotions, even though it is the fiction, and it's about revenge and revenge without constraint. And there's some sub-themes in there that are also fairly timely, like government overreach in times of peril, and the surveillance by the NSA of citizens of this country without their consent. So some of those things are I guess they say, ripped from the headlines.
Well, the book is The Terminal List. It's called A Thriller by Jack Carr, available on Amazon and pretty much wherever books are sold.
Yep, and his audio and ebook and all the rest of it, too.
Perfect. Jack, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I sure appreciate it.
All right, you take care. Good luck with the book. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. Let's talk about guns, and also I'm looking for, like I say, it really makes a difference. We need a lot of women to show up at the state legislatures. We need a lot of women to become firearms instructors. And we need people who can just explain things well from a different perspective, because women listen to other women a lot more than they listen to us. Hey, guys aren't listening to women. You know how that works. So 866-TALK-GUN. Will you get involved? Will you volunteer? Give me a holler.
The battlefield, where tyranny is laid to rest, where freedom comes of age, and where legends are conceived. Introducing the FN 509 handgun, a direct result of over 1 million rounds of testing, descended from over 125 years of the world's most battle-proven firearms on battlefields both foreign and domestic. The FN 509, a legend in the making. Learn more at fnamerica.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. ShopGunTalk.com.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
I spy a black pickup truck. Oh, come on. How about something a little easier? Okay, I spy error-free forms, fast ATF processing, a 90-day money-back guarantee, and the largest inventory in the industry. I spy Powered By. That's right. With over 300 Powered By Silencer Shop retailers nationwide, there's always one close by. Is that easy enough for you? Ha! Almost too easy.
Demand Powered By. Shop our industry-leading inventory at silencershop.com.
All right, going to the phones now. We're going to talk to, let's see, Deborah, Heiko, Vance. All of you, hang in there. We're going to get to all of you. Line 2, Deborah's with us out of California. How you doing there?
I'm doing fine. I just caught your show today for the very first time.
Oh,
and
great.
I had to call.
Okay.
Yes, and and I enjoyed it, and I've been wanting to tell somebody this. The San Bernardino shooting, I'm a grandmother, and I'm retired. I have one grandchild, and the San Bernardino shooting really bothered me. They all bothered you. I grieved over our policemen because we have law enforcement in our family. Well, I had a nightmare, and it was being in a mall with my granddaughter and trying to hide in a dress shop's closet in the back where they keep their stuff. And I woke up from that dream very disturbed, and I couldn't get it off my mind or the man. I went to the website and read about him, and putting the table in front of her, the last thing he said is, "I got you." And he died. She was wounded. But it was, these kids don't understand what, they just don't understand. They're only seeing one side of it, and a horrible side. We saw the worst case scenario. I know there are strategists out there. There are people that would know how to take all the information. They've seen the worst case scenario, and they need to make a film based on nothing but facts and truth. If they had, say, 3 people that were armed on that campus, and how it could have been instead of how it was.
Hey, Deborah, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You said you had a nightmare about the San Bernardino shooting, and you're back in a store, a mall, and you're trapped back there. What did you do after you had that nightmare? Did you change anything about what you do for your own personal protection?
Well, the first thing I did, it took me about 3 days, I called my cousin who was retired from the sheriff's department, and we're close. I'm close to him and his wife, and they were both in law enforcement. But he's retired now. I talked to him about it. I told him, I said, we went shooting because I grew up on a ranch. We had 22s, but no, not a lot of it. But I've never carried a handgun. But I told him, I said, would you walk me and Taylor's mom through it so we can get conceal and carry? And he said, yeah. And I said, and you can't let us have a gun till you know that we know what we're doing, because I'm older. Like I said, I'm retired. And, I wanted to be armed, and I still do. We haven't got to put it together yet, but we are. And I gave her the website to go on and watch, you don't have to be a sniper. You just have to know where to shoot,
Okay, I'm going to give you a website. I get something to go. This is your homework assignment, okay? If you go on YouTube and go on our website, Gun Talk, on YouTube, our channel, and look for First first-person defender, where we take regular people, we put them into self-defense situations. Watch a few of the first-person defender episodes, and then immediately go get serious, because the San Bernardino shooting is a long time ago, and you still haven't done anything about it. You need to get serious about this. So please go to YouTube, look for first-person defender there, look at a few of those, and then immediately get yourself signed up for some training. Don't wait for a relative. Go take classes at a local shooting range, okay?
Okay, and I want to ask a question. My granddaughter's 11 now. Okay, she was younger then, but she's not too young to learn gun safety, is she?
No, heavens no. Can you teach her how to cross the street and look both ways?
Oh, well, yeah, and she's taking martial arts. Yeah.
Then she can learn how to be around guns and not get hurt. She can certainly learn how to shoot a gun, not for self-defense now. I'm not talking about that, but she could learn how to shoot a gun and handle a gun and know which way it's supposed to be pointed. And she could be, look, at 11, you can be perfectly safe. There's no problem in the world. So yes. That shouldn't be a problem. Look, I got to run. I appreciate the call, Deborah. Thank you so much for calling. And get that training. Pay attention to that nightmare. Nightmare is a way of your brain telling you need to get something going. As I say, we have to get off our butts, because we keep saying, well, yeah, but I'm busy. Yeah, but I just haven't gotten around to it. Yeah, but my cousin or my brother or my uncle hasn't taught me how to do it. Okay, then go to a local gun store. Go to a range and sign up. Take a lesson. Get off our butts. Our butts would keep us from doing things, because we always have a yeah, but, right? The yeah, but. Yeah, but I got to do the... No. What's important to you is shown to the world by what you will spend your time on. Simple as that. Line 1, Heiko's with us out of Carson City, Nevada. Heiko, welcome to Gun Talk.
Hello, Tom. I just wanted to add that listening to the radio and the TV stuff with the march and everything, I didn't hear anyone say anything about the failure of the school board in Parkland, Florida, the failure of the Sheriff's Department of Broward County, and the FBI. They all talking about the children. The sad thing is, this Doug Hogue guy from the school, 3,200 students there, no one seemed to know anything about the Promise program, and nothing ever happened to any of those kids. There must be a real volatile campus there. And it just saddens me to hear that nobody is talking about the problem. They're blaming it on something that it's not there. It just makes no sense. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It is, and I thank you for the call. It's frustrating when you say, as you have, there are a lot of factors here that need to be looked at. Okay, that's a fair way of putting it. I'm not saying that the others, are the ones, but there are a lot of things that need to be looked at. Unfortunately, you have an uber leftist media, and they have an agenda, and they have a narrative they want to put forward, and they're very good at it. And they're very good at telling the story so that you end up with the thought in your mind they want you to have, which is this was a gun problem. Don't want to talk about the drugs anybody was taking. Don't want to talk about the fact that the FBI blew it. Don't want to talk about the fact that the Sheriff's Department blew it. Don't want to talk about the school system blowing it. And we're not even talking about parents at this point. All these entities, all these pieces and parts, and what you're getting out of the media is it's a gun problem. Instead of being responsible and say, wait a minute, guns are no more available now. Look, we call it the basic scientific method, right? If something's going along and then the result changes, you go back and say, okay, what variable changed? What happened here? Something changed to give us a different result in whatever the experiment is. Guns are no more prevalent now than they were 50 years ago. They were easier to get back then. People actually took their guns to school and left them in school, in the school lockers. And we didn't have these shootings. So if the guns have not changed, then something else must have changed. Something else has varied. Some variable has changed. What is that? Well, there are a lot of options. Certainly drugs are one of them. What are kids exposed to now? How are they taught? How are they raised? Single-parent families. I mean, you can go on and on and on. But, you know, those are hard things to tackle. Those require you to actually use your brain and get deep into these areas. And it will make some people uncomfortable to say, you, the parents, are screwing up your kids. You, the parents who are forever calling the school or going down there and berating the teachers for requiring your student to turn in his or her work. Berating the teachers because the teacher makes less than you do, so you think that you can just give them a hard time. This is the whole reality TV generation. Like, we're talking about 2 generations now, where the whole idea is, I mean, look at the Survivor TV series. All it is a screw your buddy show. You succeed by screwing somebody else. You succeed by being duplicitous, by lying, by cheating, by backstabbing, by forming coalitions to work against other people. And that's our entertainment. That's our model. It's no more Ozzie and Harriet. No, I know it sounds like your old guy Giesen here. I get it. But if that's what you're exposed to, and that's what your parents are exposed to, the idea is the way you succeed is you're mean. You cheat. You lie. You steal. You denigrate. You make fun of. You put down. And then we have the whole snark thing going on. Rather than being nice to people, you get ahead in school by being snarky and mean. And nothing new about that. I get it. Nothing new. Always happens. I like the whole idea of, rather than go marching out, why don't you just go spend some time with that kid who's sitting by himself over there that nobody wants to sit with? All these kids who are standing up now and yelling, were they over there helping this kid when he was sitting alone? I don't know. Don't know the answer to that. The media isn't going to tell you because they've got their narrative and they're working on it. And part of their narrative, to go back to our earlier guest, is the marginalization of gun owners, not guns, gun owners. Remember, it's not the guns they hate, it's you they hate. And by marginalizing and stigmatizing, they can make us the other, and then we are less than, and then they can do whatever they want to us because we really are not like them. And that's a lot of what it is, well, they're not really like us. We really need to kind of get control of them. That's an awful lot of what's going on right now.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
Just got a very good email from a fellow that I've kind of gotten to know and been friends with through email, Bry. And one of his points is, and it's something I've been talking about for a while, how do you have a conversation with somebody when you cannot agree upon what words mean? If you're both using the same word or the same term, but they mean something different to each of you, you are both puzzled why the other one cannot possibly understand what you're saying. If I'm calling something red and you are calling it red, but what I mean is blue, we can never pick out the same color. If you have a term that doesn't make any sense to me or means something different, we can't get together. Part and parcel of this is rather than argue, this is arguing 101, arguing to win, okay, is don't argue. Discuss. The Socratic method, when they make a statement, you come back with a question, but not a nasty, snarky, yeah, well, what about this? It doesn't get you anywhere. But if they say, well, yeah, we have to do away with military-style guns, you come back and say, well, okay, so you want to ban all guns. They, well, no, just the military guns. Well, you do understand that all guns were designed originally for military use. Pretty much everything we have, bolt-action guns, every single shotguns. I mean, go back to trapdoor Springfields, lever actions, the Paul Mauser 1898 design. So pretty much all guns made were originally military design. So banning all guns with a military background would ban all guns. Well, that's not what I mean. So, okay, you just keep asking. And in the process of asking these, not nasty, just like, well, okay. And when they say, well, 30 rounds is too many. And you say, well, okay. The question is, then what is the correct number? Just go right to the chase. Okay, well, if 30, first they'll say high capacity, and then you say, well, how many is a high capacity? Well, you got to have a number. There's got to be a number here. Is it 30? Yeah, okay, it's 30. Okay, so 30 is too many. What's the right number? And make them stake out the ground. What you're doing, rather than sitting there and arguing back and forth, because when you argue, in many cases, what you're really doing is you're saying, I'm right, you're wrong. And then they come back and they say, well, I'm right, you're wrong. Well, how are we getting anywhere here? We just had a gentleman call. He's been listening to Gun Talk for 2.5 years. He started listening to Gun Talk radio as a way of seeing what I'm saying that is wrong and how he can use this bad information I'm putting out to further the anti-gun position that he had. I want to applaud it because, there are not a lot of people. This was Ben. Not a lot of people would have the guts, the honesty to stay with it and say, I think maybe I was wrong. That's such a difficult thing to do. It's such an honest thing to do. And he said after 2.5 years, he realized that he had been wrong on this completely. Now, here's a question for you. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, okay? Just saying. Would he have made that conversion if I just sit here and ranted about, those loons over there and this and that, as opposed to trying to point out the facts, what's real, and presenting information in ways that are non-threatening, if you understand that? People believe what they believe. It's like people make fun of a phobia. Well, you know what? A phobia is a real fear. It's fear. Now, it may not be a fear of a real thing, but it's a real fear. And you have to honor that when you're working with it. And when somebody has a deeply held position that's opposite of yours on guns, you get nowhere by making fun of it. You have to say, okay, I understand. That's what you believe. Okay, I get that. Can we talk about it? And I love those questions like that. Well, are you okay with us talking about this? Because very few people are going to say, no, I don't want to talk about it. I said, well, sure, we can talk about it. I said, okay, because there's some things I would like to know. Might be a way to go about it. There's some things I'd like to know about how you got to what you believe. And, for us to try to find some common ground. At its core, now here, I want to leave you with this. At its core, everybody wants the same thing. I know that sounds crazy to you right now. But think about this. At its core, what do we want? We want to be safe. We want our kids to be safe. Right? We'd like to feel safe. As I say, that's a function of being safe. We just have different ideas about how we get there. So you have to honor the idea that somebody really is concerned or really is scared or really is mad, and what they really would like is for schools to be safe. What they really would like for us to have less crime, fewer murders. Now, you and I both know murders are down by half, gun crime is down by 70%. It's an incredibly great story. They don't know that. They won't even believe it when you tell them. Trust me, they won't. They're not going to believe it. Oh, that's just NRA nut. No, it's not. It's FBI data. It takes a while to get there. But if you start from a position of they have an honest view, for the most part. Now look, sure, there's some of the activists out there who have a different agenda. But most of the people you're going to be talking with honestly believe what they are saying, and they came to that from some journey to get to wherever they are. And one of the best places to start is, okay, I understand that this is a deeply held belief of yours, and I would like to have a conversation about it. Are you okay with that? And work from that position, because trust me, once you start the conversation, if you are careful and non-threatening and non-accusatory, and certainly don't try to put people down and use, the same old tired arguments that we've always used and always fail, I think you can get there. And one by one, one-on-one, we can get there. Now, in the meantime, what we have to be doing is getting serious about getting out there in front of the public. We have to show them who we are. We're not terrorists. We're not murderers. We're not people who don't care when people get murdered. We just have a different view about what to do about it. That's a pretty good message. All right, 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit sigsauer.com today.
Laser sights are an essential firearms training tool, improving the skill level of the shooter by enhancing proper fundamentals like sight alignment and trigger control, and providing life-saving practices that can be depended on in moments of crisis. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our laser training video, The Laser's Edge, and learn why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Think all ammo's the same? Think again. Aguila Ammunition uses the highest quality materials and is one of the world's largest rimfire manufacturers. Want Silent 22 ammo, powderless Super Colibri, and Sniper Subsonic merely whisper. For light recoil and big performance, mini shells make any shotgun a pleasure to shoot. Match grade and the Hyperfast Super Maximum and Interceptor 22 loads get the maximum for your rifle or pistol. Visit aguilaammo.com/rimfire. Feed your firearm.
All right, with you now. Let's jump over to line 2, talk to Neil out of Golden Shores, Arizona. Hey, Neil, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, buddy, it's great to talk to you. I've been listening to you for over 2 years, and you're just wonderful. And today you're talking about something I'm really passionate about.
Okay.
The March for Our Lives that went down yesterday. I was just totally appalled when I watched what I could stand watching of it, was the totally scripted, choreographed speeches in the elaborate stage with the jumbotrons. I would really like to know who's providing all the money, the limousines, and the buses that bust all these kids in.
Well, I can tell you.
And how they got the National Guard there to protect them with all those guns. And not one person that opposed them was allowed to get anywhere near that stage.
Well, no, I mean, I can tell you, the money came from the Bloomberg groups. He funded the Everytown and the Moms Demand years ago, and they were set up. This was all, you don't come up with a plan like this in a couple of weeks. So this was all orchestrated. There were binders and folders and PowerPoints and everything been presented and prepared, that is, and then they have been sitting there waiting for this. So they were ready. I also will tell you, I was on, should I even mention this? I heard about a call with the anti-gun groups, and they were talking about the training they're doing with the kids and how they're training them. They're giving them media training. And the George Clooney PR firm is giving them media training. And the Everytown Group is giving these kids media training. So they are absolutely coaching them up. And the kids are all saying, no, we're doing what we want, and we'll take their money to help us fund all this. But our message is ours, and nobody's telling us what to do. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're getting media training on how to present your message and what to say and what not to say. Give me a break. I know you think that you are in charge of this, but these guys have their arms up the back of your shirt so far that you're all just little puppets there. And I know that makes it sound like I'm denigrating them. I'm not. They had a real experience. They have a real voice. And it's great that they are participating. I love the fact that they are getting involved in the process. At the same time, they are most certainly being used and manipulated. Okay? Two things can be true at the same time. Now, you make a great point, Neil. Thank you, sir. But to go back, for those who just got here, when I started off the show, these marches change a lot of things. The landscape is different today than it was on Friday. From the standpoint of what states and the federal government, these lawmakers are willing to do, that's changed. They are willing to cave to this. They see the numbers. And politicians, you may think they're dumb, but they all know how to count. And the only thing, let me repeat one more time, the only thing that will change that is if we have numbers and show our numbers. And that means taking a day off of work, doing what you have to do to go to your state legislatures, to show up when your state gun group says, hey, this is the day we're all going to be there. Buckeye Firearms is very good at that in Ohio. Gold is very good at that. You all show up at once. You're all wearing the blaze orange hats or whatever it is so that people can say, oh, yeah, that's the gun people out there. And not just the gun guys, ladies. It's got to be the gun women. In every state right now, they're introducing bills to ban sale of guns to people under 21. Every time they have a hearing like that, we need a woman, a mother, who's 18, 19, 20 years old, who stands before them and looks them in the eye and says, so you're telling me that I can't protect my child. I am my family's first responder. And you're telling me I'm raising a kid on my own here. Or maybe even better, she comes back and says, I'm a United States Marine, and I'm 19 years old, and you're telling me that I can't have a gun here? But we need the right people. We need a lot of people, and we need the right people. We need a lot of women. We need a lot of young people. And I can't do that. And you know who else can't do that? The NRA can't do that. But you can do that. People say, where's the NRA? I say, where are you? NRA is just us. See, they have top-down money. They have Bloomberg money. They have Soros money. They have movie star money. And it flows down and they can do a lot of stuff. We have bottom-up money. We have individuals giving money and giving time. And we don't have nearly as much as they do now. It used to be the other way around, but now we don't have nearly as much as they do. But what we do is we have a lot of people. We have a lot of people who know things, who will show up, if you will. And when we do show up, we're effective. When we don't show up, we don't. It's really simple. You know what? Figuratively, they're all going to go into a room, and then if we're not in the room, if we don't have a seat at the table, we will have no say. And then they will come out of the room and say, this is what's happening to you. You now no longer can buy a gun if you are under 21. You now have to wait 3 days to buy a gun. Oh, yes, semi-automatics are banned in the state. And our gun guys, our hunters, and everybody else are going to wake up and go, what happened? And we'll say, yeah, exactly. That's my very point. If you're not taking action now, you're going to wake up at some point soon and say, what happened? All right, 866 Talk Gun will still get you in here. And, of course, we have the after show coming up. We're going to knock it around a good bit during the after show. You probably would like to be a part of that. First of all, though, John is in Clovis, California on line 1. Hey, John, thanks for your patience. You're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom. First thing, what we need to do to stop all this epidemic of school shootings, mass shootings, is bring up James Allen Fox school shooting study. He's from Northeastern University, and CNN's used to be go-to guy for anti-gun stuff. He, point by point, debunks the whole school shooting, mass shooting thing. It just guts it. And with that, Friday, I'm a C-SPAN fanatic, so I dropped in on a last Friday gun violence and school safety panel. Of course, it's tilted. But a couple of good nuggets came out of there. A University of Virginia professor and a Daniel Webster from Johns Hopkins, believe it or not, produced graphs that show why school is the safest place there is. And you know Johns Hopkins.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, they were our friends like, Lenin was our friend.
Well, Bloomberg gave a $50 million grant to Johns Hopkins to study guns. You can imagine how that's going.
Oh, I know. But those two things right there, and when they say, well, those are right-wing pro-gun, no, Fox is not. And it's on the Northeastern website.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
and I got a couple of suggestions real quick.
Real fast.
How is punishing the many for the crimes of a few common sense? Next one. Demonizing the many for the crimes of a few is bigotry.
Well, that part, certainly, and I've been calling it bigotry for 2 decades, and they don't, they kind of reject that. But it is certainly that if you say, well, you know what it is? It's part of that whole demonization and marginalization and stigmatization of a group. That way, if you can do that, then you can get away with, putting them into, in our case, virtual concentration camps, re-education camps, if you will. It's what it does, and look, I appreciate the call, by lumping us all together and making us the other, which is less than human. You're all terrorists. You don't care if children die, all the rest of it. You have blood on your hands. It makes it easy and possible to not listen to us, to not take us seriously, to be able to dismiss anything we say. Well, yeah, who wants to listen to those people? They don't care if children die. They're just happy playing with their toys. As long as they can play with their toys, they don't care that children die. It's maddening. It is insulting. It doesn't even get close to what it really is. It's bigotry in every sense of the word. It's a put down of massive proportions of we are moral and you are not. And then they'll say, look, if you cared about children dying, you would support gun control. There it is. As though that's the only possible solution. Well, you know what? Those of us who study this for the last 50 years, we've seen everything that you want to do. We've seen every form of gun control that you can talk about tried. And in every single case, none of it ever reduced crime anywhere. And it's all been tried. Why do we want to repeat things that fail? And why do you not want to consider other things? I would say this to you. It's time for us to get off our collective butts. But I am busy, but I have a job, and get involved. Find your state gun rights organization and get involved. Join. Show up. You know what? The world belongs to those who show up. Or we can sit around and wake up one day and say, wow, what happened?